that when Dajjal is released on an earth in a day which is like a year, and commences his mission to impersonate the Messiah, it is from Britain that he launches his attack. And I notice that he who wants to rule the world and deliver to the Jews rule over the world causes Britain to become ruling state in the world. I have so much more I'd like to talk about Britain, but time is against me. One day Britain is no longer the ruling state in the world. Britain is replaced by the United States of America. I want to advise those of you who are serious as thinkers to do what I'm doing now. To examine minutely and carefully the process of change through which the United States of America replaced Britain as the ruling state in the world. How long did it last? And what was the process of change? This is your homework. When the United States became the ruling state in the world, then the United States also maintains that mysterious, mystifying, puzzling, baffling, enigmatic relationship with Israel that Britain had. You can't explain the American relationship with Israel with any of the normal tools of political analysis. No. Only the Qur'an and a man named Muhammad ﷺ can explain it. So don't ask your foreign minister. Don't ask the diplomats, because they can't answer it. The United States is the first country in the world to recognize Israel. It was born. The United States provides massive financial assistance to Israel, massive economic aid to Israel, massive military aid to Israel, massive transfer of military technology from the front door and from the back door. Israel becomes a powerful state. Israel becomes a nuclear state, armed with nuclear weapons to match Europe. Israel becomes a thermonuclear state. Israel today has the capacity to destroy every European capital. And Israel has won. We're not going down without taking the world down with us. We have the power to take the world down with us. That's how powerful Israel is. And so my answer is that when Dajjal is in a day which is like a month, it is the United States of America which is its headquarters. I want to suggest to you that we are now located in that moment in time when the state of Israel is about to replace the United States of America as the ruling state in the world. And Dajjal will now enter into a day which is like a week. We are now passing through the greatest drama that mankind has ever experienced in history. All that I have done is to give you the framework from the Qur'an, which you can now apply to try to understand what is happening in the world. Tomorrow, we will be in the grave. Tomorrow you must use this to understand and to analyze what is happening in the world using the framework of the Qur'an. Now, the war on Iraq is meant to be on behalf of the Jewish state of Israel. Why is the war being waged now? Why not before? Because, as I said, we are now entering into the period when a day will be like a week, a day like a month will end. But I notice that this war was planned long ago. And I noticed that they made the attempt long ago. I could not help noticing because I was resident in New York City. September the 11th was not the first time that they attempted to blow up and bring down the World Trade Center. Twin Towers. I was there in New York when the first attempt was made. I believe it must have been January 1992. It was winter time. And guess what? There was a Republican administration. A Republican administration. It was Bush Sr. And guess what? There was a Jew who was identified to be part of the planning committee. And then he disappeared. And guess what? There were a number of Arabs who were duped into this. They didn't know what they were doing. And the rider van was packed with explosives and taken into the basement of the World Trade Center and then exploded. But the buildings did not collapse. 6 floors were damaged, but the building did not collapse. It was clear as daylight that the Arabs were not themselves the architects of this effort, that they were duped. Because the fella who rented the van, the Arab boy who rented the van which was used in the attack, he had to give a deposit of $400. The day after the attack on the World Trade Center, this fellow went back to the office to collect his $400. Not knowing that the van which he rented was the van which was used in the attack. And so the same forces who attacked America on September the 11th, but this time they did a better job, because they rigged the buildings with explosives all the way up. They rigged the buildings with explosives, you see? So that when the explosives were detonated, the building could collapse nicely. The way they do a perfect demolition job, all the way coming down. This time they did a better job. The last time they failed. But in between the first effort and the second effort, there was a democratic government. Bill Clinton. It was not a Republican Bush government. And so the war on Iraq had to be put on hold. It had to be put on hold while Clinton was in office. And then when Clinton won re-election, they said, oh my gosh, we got to stand up for another 4 years to this man. How can we bring it down? How can we bring it down? And then they sent a girl named Monica. A Jewish girl named Monica. This was not simple hanky-panky. No. This was an effort to bring down the government so that it could be replaced with another which could serve the interests of those who wanted to take America to war on behalf of the Jewish state of Israel. They even took Clinton to be impeached. Only the second time in U.S. history that an effort was made to impeach a president. But Clinton was a gritty old horse from Arkansas, and Clinton survived. And so they had to wait. And then they bit their nails in fury when Al Gore polled more votes than Bush in the election. And only with the help of their friends in the Supreme Court, well, a lot of Jews in the Supreme Court, they were able to hand victory to George Bush. They needed this man in the White House before they could pull off September the 11th. Like they needed his father before they could attempt to bomb the World Trade Center in 1992. Once they have this man in the White House, they can now attack Afghanistan. And they can now attack Iraq. And as your Prime Minister correctly said, they have other agendas after Iraq. He's correct on that. This war was made possible because there is a clique who now have control of the White House.